Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you would never ask. It is Thursday. It is January the 7th. Today is National Bobble Head Day. And when I say that,
I like bobbleheads.
my head bobs back and forth.
They're so cute.
It's also a National Tempura Day today, so can celebrate that while you're playing with a bobblehead. How's that sound?
I don't know what tempura is.
Isn't that
so-
fish? I believe
I
that
think
is.
that's tilapia.
Oh,
I don't know.
well, let's find out. In addition to that, we also have a Dear John letter because it is a Thursday, and we got quite the Dear John letter for today. We're going to be chatting about that here in a little bit. Let's see, National Tempura Day. Encourage us to celebrate with a dish made with tempura batter. So it's kind of batter.
Okay.
I wonder if you
Now
put
we
that
know.
on. Popular dish in Japanese cooking, seafood. So I was kind
It's
of
a seafood.
right. While I was being wrong. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Addiction. It's not a pretty thing. Addiction can lead to many problems in your life. Addiction can drive away those who love you the most. And addiction can lead to the loss of jobs, relationships, and even your life. Don't let addiction tear your life apart anymore. Get the help you need to defeat addiction and put the pieces back together in your life. Learn more at timeforrehab.com. They want to help. Timeforrehab.com. That's timeforrehab.com.
Now, surveys and studies and such brought to you by bettercreditcards.com. A new study by the Center for Alcohol and Substance Use Studies at Rutgers University finds alcohol consumption among students has fallen off quite a bit during lockdowns. And this is why. They say it's especially true for young adults who were home with their parents when they were forced off the campus. So,
Oh, yeah, I suppose, because now they're not partying as
Yeah.
much with all their friends. That makes sense.
if you're home with mom and dad, you're not out
Yeah.
doing something bad. So there you go. I should probably knit that on a pillow or something. Also, according to a new study, COVID-19 may persist in the gut even after the virus has been cleared from the airway, suggesting fecal matter could be a better way to detect the virus than traditional nose swabs.
Oh.
So they don't know if it's better, if it's the number one way to test, or the number two. Right, see what I did there?
I do see what you did there.
That's for all the 12-year-olds. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. If you have a credit card, our friends at bettercreditcards.com would like to make sure it's the best credit card for you. Take a few minutes to look at your current interest rate and then see what you get for points and perks. Then go to bettercreditcards.com to see if they can help you find a better credit card. This will literally cost you nothing, and it could help you save money by getting a better credit card. Even if you don't have a credit card right now, you can check it out too at bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com. This is Your Brain on Drugs, brought to you by timeforrehab.com. A Texas man accused of letting his 13-year-old stepdaughter drive to get some ice cream is facing charges. 42-year-old Javier Martinez Aguilar of Lubbock, indicted on felony charge of endangering a child, criminal negligence as well. Police pulled over a 13-year-old girl driving an SUV, and he was in the passenger seat.
Okay, so that's what I was going to ask. Was
she
he with
was
her?
Driving her stepfather to get ice cream because he was, quote, too
intoxicated.
drunk to drive.
Yeah.
So he thought he was doing the right thing. He's like, well, I'm too drunk, but
Yeah.
you're not. No, but she's 13.
Yeah, that's not.
So
that's not.
he even had trouble getting his license out of his wallet. That's how intoxicated he was.
yikes.
Charged with criminal negligence, child endangerment, booked into the detention center. So it's a bad plan. That is when you just, reach out and maybe get ice cream from an ice cream truck.
Or maybe you just sleep it off.
Yeah,
and
or you
see if you still want ice cream.
root around in the
morning.
freezer and see if you got some ice cream in there. I don't know. Now I'm hungry for ice cream. Thanks a lot. That's what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Hugh Jackman was spotted on a beach in the Hamptons with his wife, despite it being December in New York. So this is from
burr.
like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. The pair still went for a swim. So he was
Wow.
wearing nothing but a pair of swimming trunks. and he was swimming in December in New York.
Well, hey, you know what? If it doesn't bother him,
They certainly weren't on a crowded beach, I can say that. Tom Cruise is in the news. He reportedly feels the pressure of the pandemic amid filming Mission Impossible 7.
he has lost his mind.
Yeah, he says there's a lot at stake. So he's, a lot. And then Tyler Perry, this I think is phenomenal. He reportedly shot 19 episodes of the new series titled Bruh, B-R-U-H, in 4 days. 19 episodes in 4 days.
Wow.
Now, that's not editing and everything, but it's just doing all the shooting. They did all the filming over the course of 4 days, and they got as much squeezed in as they could. And I've talked to a couple people who've worked with him, and he's a really
It sounds like he
fun
seems
guy to
like
work
a
with.
neat guy.
But it sounds to me like on this one, they just basically got to work and said, let's just keep rolling and keep doing, and let's get it
Right.
going. So, yeah, 19 episodes in 4 days. Big screen, little screen. Brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Please support local businesses right now. I understand you can click a mouse or tap your finger on a phone screen and buy things from a faraway place, and they'll bring it right to your door. But your neighbors and your friends right up the street, they need your help right now. So many businesses are hurting. If you're buying gifts anyway, please support local businesses. You can buy a gift card from your favorite restaurant and then give that as a gift. And you're really giving 2 gifts. One to your loved one and one to the people who work at that restaurant. Take the gift card challenge today at giftcardchallenge.org. Now, your scoop of the day. It comes your way courtesy of giftcardchallenge.org. A British man who became a viral sensation for riding a jet ski across the Isle of Man to see his girlfriend
Remember him?
says he feels like James Bond, but not a very good James Bond. So that's kind of
He
funny.
was a good James Bond.
Yeah.
That's pretty freaking cool.
It is pretty cool, but you know what? There's some things that didn't go so great. So he's like, I'm not a great James Bond, but I'm kind of a James Bond. There's a really wild video of 2 men base jumping off a rooftop bar in Nashville. And have you ever heard, you know what base jumping is, right? So, but you would think, how high up is this bar for them to be able to base jump from it? It's got to be up there a ways.
You would assume, yeah.
Can't imagine it's like on the second story.
If it was, it's not a very impressive base jump.
No. And Taylor Swift tied the late Whitney Houston's record now for the most weeks on the Billboard 200 amongst female artists. So congrats to Ms. Taylor Swift. People who consider their pets honorary family members often want to include them in their holiday festivities, but they say pouring a little too much cheer into their bowl is not a good idea. Animal experts say alcohol can have the same effect on animals as it does on humans, which means drunken dogs can be very disoriented, nauseated, even poisoned. Vets say do not do that. They see a huge spike in alcohol-related illnesses in dogs and cats around the holidays.
Who
So,
gets their dog and cat loaded up?
why are you looking at me?
I
When I was a kid, I remember we gave a dog, there was one of our dogs that liked beer. So, I don't know. Maybe.
well, my dad used to let.
Oh, well, you just asked who did that, and you're like, oh, Charlie.
Yeah, my dad did.
So the answer is Charlie and my family. But I don't ever remember getting a dog drunk, but I just remember one that liked beer. And I got a lot of stuff here from the tail end of last year. A man in Italy was surprised to see his bank statement telling him that he had a bit of an overdraft, $43 billion.
Whoa! Holy cow!
He and his wife were looking through and it was like, his wife first noticed a discrepancy and said, what's going on here? Have you been shopping? Bank admitted it was a technical error.
Yeah, I would hope so.
And they said the good news is this only happened to a few customers. Well, the bad news is they were a few of the customers. Good thing they got it all ironed out. A British psychologist says his research indicates foot movements are one of the most powerful indicators of whether a woman finds a suitor attractive. He examined how people move their feet in a number of situations and found women tended to move their feet away from their bodies, adopting a more open-leg stance when speaking with somebody they found attractive. He said they would cross their legs or like keep them tucked, like almost curl up if they didn't think the person was attractive. The professor said he found men did not reveal attraction with their feet. It didn't make any difference whatsoever for men, but it did for women. He said men did tend to move their feet more when they were nervous, while women kept their feet still when they were nervous. So there you go. I got a link to that if you want to read all the details on that. But this certainly explains why when Heidi and I were on our first date, she was in the fetal position. I'm kidding. That was the second date. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Nobody wants to buy car insurance. It's not a fun thing to think about, but it's something you need if you want to drive your car. So even if you don't want to buy insurance, you probably have to get it from someone. So why not buy it from InsuranceChicken.com? Okay, I'll admit, our website name is dumb. InsuranceChicken.com. Yeah, our marketing department is not that great. But our selection of insurance options is amazing. See if we can save you money each month on our dumb website, InsuranceChicken.com. That's InsuranceChicken.com. And it's time right now for Dear John Letters. All right, this is a pretty fun letter, and the nice thing is, I bet there are some folks listening that can probably relate to this type of situation. Here we go. Dear John, my daughter wants to buy a home with her boyfriend. I asked, why don't you get married first? She said, I want to wait until I can have a big wedding. Not sure if that'll happen in 2021. I suggested that she get married in a small ceremony now and then do a big wedding later. But she wants to spend the money that they've saved up for a wedding on a down payment for a home. She said, I have two problems with this. First, I'm old-fashioned and I think they should be married before they live together. Right now, they both rent apartments and they've both been working from home lately. They're thinking they could save money by moving in together in a home that they would actually be buying instead of renting. That all makes sense, but I think my second problem is the bigger issue. What if they break up? How do you decide who gets the home if they have both been paying on it? I think it sounds like a nightmare of a problem if that were to happen. I love my daughter's boyfriend. I think they'll be an amazing couple, but I think they should wait to buy a home after they get married. Do I sound like I'm out of touch with this opinion? My ex-husband likes the idea, but I think he likes it because I don't like it. So I'm not putting too much weight on that. What do you think? Any of your Facebook followers have some advice from a legal perspective? Signed, Mama Bear, who cares? First of all, I love that. Looking for free legal advice. So I cannot tell you for sure if we have anybody listening with good legal advice, but I guarantee we have people with advice. I'm not even going to say good advice, but I think it's good advice. And we're going to chime in with some advice. So do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Well, first of all, whether you're married or not, if you break up, it's going to be a nightmare trying to split up assets. So marriage, I will say, does not guarantee
that it would be smooth,
that you will be together forever. I mean, just the fact that you're divorced, you know that.
Yeah.
You know, that's just.
Well, and I think maybe that's part of what's going on right here. So when you look at the whole big picture here, you know, she's been down this road, and you know things didn't work out because she's got an ex, and it doesn't sound like they love each other a whole bunch.
Get along.
So
yeah.
There's no love lost there. So maybe that's partially what's fitting in here. And I don't know if they had like a terrible divorce and it was really nasty and you know things got ugly there. That could be part of what's going on, but that could also have to do with why the daughter's going, I don't place a high value on the marriage part,
right?
You know, and if she's going, Mom, you did and you broke up, so what do you care? Now here's the thing that I would say personally, if I were in the shoes of the daughter or even the boyfriend, I would say, let's do this small ceremony this year. Let's do it now. Do it for Valentine's Day, whatever. And then do a bigger ceremony later. Mm-hmm. And I know 2020 was a tough year for weddings. There were a lot of people who had weddings planned, who didn't have weddings. Mm-hmm. We have a friend, both of them, he and she were both our friends, that got married, but they had a big wedding planned that got canceled. And then later they did a very small wedding. And then they're going to do a bigger wedding. So, you know, I think that something like that could certainly work if that part is important to you. And I think that what I would do is let them know that if it matters to you, if it's going to be, you know, something that's going to cause issues, certainly vocalize that.
Yeah.
And maybe you talk to his family as well and see, maybe they're saying the same thing, you know, if you guys could all get on the same page and just say, hey, let's have a small ceremony now. Let's do that.
Yep.
And then if you can all chip in and help them find a home and make this a happy moment rather than sure wish you wouldn't have done that, you know, because you don't want to have, I can tell you right now, you don't want to live in the told you so world. That's not a good world to live in. And you certainly don't want to, you know, have this all come together in a big hurry just because, well, interest rates are low and we're buying a house now because, well, that's why. Well, make sure
you would
it's the
also
right thing.
save money by renting together if you decide that this is something you absolutely have to do. You don't necessarily have to jump into buying.
Yeah. Well, I think the big issue for Mom, number one, was, you know, I would like them to be married before they move in together. Mm-hmm. And again, if you would like to chime in with some advice, I would absolutely adore that. You can do that on our Facebook page. And I want to remind you, that's also where you could submit your Dear John letter. And as you've noticed, I didn't tell you who this person is. We always keep it anonymous. So we're not going to say who the person is. We wouldn't say who yours is either. I've even had people reach out to me asking, hey, can I get that person's contact info? And I don't do that. Right. I've relayed messages before, but I've never ever said, hey, I'll just throw that name out there.
Right.
And if you want it to be 100% anonymous and you don't want to send it through our Facebook page, you can send an email right through our website, johnandheidishow.com. The majority of them do come through our Facebook page. And again, that's where you can also chime in with your answer too. Facebook.com/JohnandHeidiShow.
Addiction. It's not a pretty thing. Addiction can lead to many problems in your life. Addiction can drive away those who love you the most. And addiction can lead to the loss of jobs, relationships, and even your life. Don't let addiction tear your life apart anymore. Get the help you need to defeat addiction and put the pieces back together in your life. Learn more at timeforrehab.com. They want to help. Timeforrehab.com. That's timeforrehab.com.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Kleenex tissues were never intended to be used to blow your nose. They were actually intended for a gas mask.
Really?
Yeah. Cotton shortage during World War I, Kimberly-Clark developed a thin, flat substitute for air filters in gas masks. The war ended before they perfected anything, so they said, you know what, let's find another use for this. And they made it a little smoother, a little softer, and said, facial tissue. Now you know the rest of the story. I think that's really cool. Kleenex,
fascinating.
Facial tissue. That is today's fun fact. Now you know. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. If you have a credit card, our friends at bettercreditcards.com would like to make sure it's the best credit card for you. Take a few minutes to look at your current interest rate and then see what you get for points and perks. Then go to bettercreditcards.com to see if they can help you find a better credit card. This will literally cost you nothing, and it could help you save money by getting a better credit card. Even if you don't have a credit card right now, you can check it out too at bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com. Time now for a news headline from somewhere in this world, Dateline Germany. A man in Germany, I can only imagine how embarrassing this was. He called police to report a gas leak in his apartment building.
Oh, okay.
So they come there and they're trying to figure out what is going on, and no, gas seems to be fine. Turns out his neighbor was cooking sauerkraut.
Oh, okay. I was expecting something way worse than that. So.
Oh, that is so funny. My dad loved to make sauerkraut when I was growing up, and we would leave Jefferson Elementary School, and we lived like 4 blocks away. And there were times walking home, I would go, I think Dad's making sauerkraut. And everybody would laugh at me, and we would get home, and he was making sauerkraut. So that stuff, when it's cooked the way my dad cooked it, and apparently this guy's neighbor cooked it, that stench will go a ways. Still darn good, though. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Please support local businesses right now. I understand you can click a mouse or tap your finger on a phone screen and buy things from a faraway place, and they'll bring it right to your door. But your neighbors and your friends right up the street, they need your help right now. So many businesses are hurting. If you're buying gifts anyway, please support local businesses. You can buy a gift card from your favorite restaurant and then give that as a gift. And you're really giving 2 gifts. One to your loved one and one to the people who work at that restaurant. Take the gift card challenge today at giftcardchallenge.org. Now some weird news brought to you by weirdgiftoftheday.com. Heidi, we have an update. We talked about this story yesterday, but here's the rest of the details.
All right.
A North Dakota man threatened to kill a former co-worker, then kicked in his front door. Why did he do all of this?
Why?
Because he wouldn't accept his Facebook friend request.
Well, that's totally reasonable.
29-year-old Caleb Berzik reportedly sent a series of threatening texts first and Facebook messages to 39-year-old Robert Allen Thomas. Jeez. They used to work for a company that maintains oil and gas wells. After Thomas and his relatives left for work at another firm, Berzik was laid off, and he remained unemployed. As detailed in the probable cause affidavit last week, he began sending aggressive Facebook messages to Thomas, one of which warned, "Accept my friend request or I'm going to murder you."
Whoa!
Yeah. He traveled to his home, where several other family members lived there as well. He kicked in the front door and then entered the residence, charged with burglary and terrorizing.
Holy
he was
cow, dude.
booked into the jail on felony charges.
Eat a
Wowzers.
Snickers.
Yeah. That's a pretty extreme. You won't accept my friend request, I'm going to murder you.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. That's a bad idea. It's today's weird news.
John and Heidi.
Time now for your moment of duh, brought to you by timeforrehab.com, a Domino's delivery driver in England. Now, before I even read the rest of the story, I want to just say it was one driver. It's not the whole company.
Right.
Most of the people who work for this company would never, ever, ever do this. But this guy was caught on a doorbell camera rubbing a pint of ice on himself in his area. It's ice cream, I think. Up here it says ice. Down here it says ice cream.
Okay.
Jonathan Terry, Buckinghamshire, England, fell victim to a disturbing act after he ordered some pizza and a tub of birthday cake-flavored Ben & Jerry's ice cream. He said, it felt very disrespectful and very vile, he told a news outlet. My housemate said he also felt violated and he was not happy. So they ordered this, the treat, everything was delivered. He put the ice cream in the freezer so they would eat the pizza first. 20 minutes later, he gets a phone call. He said, hey, you haven't eaten that ice cream yet, have you? And then the lady who lives with him sent the Ring doorbell footage, and it showed the guy rubbing that on himself.
Yikes.
Domino's spokesperson said the company is investigating the incident. I got a feeling that person's a former employee.
Yeah.
I would guess. That is today's moment of duh. Nobody wants to buy car insurance. It's not a fun thing to think about, but it's something you need if you want to drive your car. So even if you don't want to buy insurance, you probably have to get it from someone. So why not buy it from InsuranceChicken.com? Okay, I'll admit, our website name is dumb. InsuranceChicken.com. Yeah, our marketing department is not that great. But our selection of insurance options is amazing. See if we can save you money each month on our dumb website, InsuranceChicken.com. That's InsuranceChicken.com. Time now for fake news or Florida. Heidi, tell me, is this a true story from the great state of Florida? Or is this fake news made up to trick you and amuse me? Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. Fake news or Florida? A Florida nurse was arrested for renting out vacant hospital rooms on Airbnb. Fake news or Florida?
Fake news.
Oh, how did you know that was fake news?
Because who would want to stay at a hospital?
I don't know. There might be somebody. Somebody might have thought that was true. Can you tell I made that one up? I was thinking it was in the zone because
No.
it was kind of on a roll. I had, several in a row that you got wrong. But Heidi's back on top. She was correct. This was
sorry.
absolutely fake news. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. It comes your way courtesy of giftcardchallenge.org, which, by the way, is a tool that each and every one of us can use to spread our own good news. And I know Christmas is over, all of that stuff's done. I know we don't have a big holiday this month, but here's what we do have, the opportunity to help people all the time. All the details at giftcardchallenge.org. Here's the headline, Heidi. I love this. Woman's act of kindness saves families from eviction. This happened in Tucson, Arizona, and it's had a ripple effect for many other families, by the way. Nora Briggs said she reached out to the Salvation Army to see how she could help families facing difficult times. Said, I want to help keep families in their home. She paid several months' rent for single parents with 4 children. She even went further and bought Christmas presents for the family as well. She said, it gave me so much joy and excitement about Christmas. Since I can't be with my family, I decided to do this. It was just fantastic to have this happen. Her neighbors said, I was so inspired by her kindness. When we heard what she did, we said, we want to do that.
Aww.
The 2 women followed suit. They paid rent for another single parent, also facing eviction. The act of kindness didn't stop there. Their friends in Texas contacted their local Salvation Army and said, hey, is there somebody we can help? And they paid the rent for somebody in their community.
Aww.
and on and on and on.
That's fantastic.
I wanted to share that because there are probably some people, even though, again, this was at Christmas time, I guarantee you there are people that are still struggling this month as well. So if that's something that you're in a position to do and you're saying, hey, I would like to help, reach out to whichever agency is in your community doing this type of thing and say, hey, how can I help? And the cool thing is, in addition to feeling, good because you helped somebody, it's also one of those things that, like, deep down inside, you just know it's the right thing.
Right.
If you're in a position to do that, I think it's really, really cool.
That's very cool.
Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday.